Today we're going to take a look at the Hawk Form, move it on from basic level and just try to put a little bit more details into the postures and into the various sections. So as we step around with the right leg, we keep the majority of the weight on the left. We draw the left hand in towards the cheek and then just simply using the waist to rebound and strike back towards the eyes. So as we turn and claw across, the waist is simply moving independently of the hips and the legs. As you get to that point where the left shoulder starts to lock, moving backwards, that's when you need to release the legs, and then it should automatically help your body to switch the feet. So as you pick the feet up, there should be a certain amount of tension through the waist to just help that turn, and you just assist using a very small amount of power. So as you step and rebound there, as you draw back with the waist to that left-hand side, simply release the legs and then the feet should follow you around. Obviously, you need to use a little bit of control with the arms, so bringing the arms over. But again, it's a very simple movement from this position to drive that elbow down towards your hip, and then the right hand simply comes over the top, almost like you're bowling in cricket, and then it comes straight over the top to strike downwards with the palm. Now simply just take the body around onto the circumference again as you step up with the right leg. This is going to be done with most of the weight still in the left. So as you step, you're just going to strike the kidney 1 point again, just to bring that energy up through the body. And you're going to use a horizontal chopping movement that can be either to use to strike or to deflect or block. So that brings you back onto line, ready to move into the next posture. As soon as you step up and you strike the foot, we're going to make a very small adjustment forwards, and that's going to help you to bring the weight forwards onto the right leg, ready for your hawk posture where you're going to stand up on one leg. So just by lengthening that stance slightly as you move forwards, that's going to allow you just a little bit more space to measure that step up so you can get into that perfect balance first time. On the hawk posture itself, we're rolling that chopping hand forwards to strike with the back of the palm. So we're going to try to roll over as much as we possibly can as the hand comes up. At the same time, you're going to hook back with your left arm and turn your body all the way around towards the left as much as you can, again loading the waist. Then from here, we turn the hand over and cut. So the hand is going to drop and we're going to chop again with the palm being up, and at the same time we're going to kick out with that left leg. Now you don't necessarily have to do this in the form, just as long as you understand that you're chambering that movement for follow-up strikes. Sometimes you'll find that as you kick out and you chop, it makes that movement feel a little bit uncomfortable, which is fine, because you can either use it or not use it as long as you understand that it's there. So the alternative is, as you come up and you strike with the hand, you can simply go straight into your plum blossom. But again, always refer back to it when you're training the applications, because going from that high wing to the chop into the neck, as well as lifting the leg into that siding snap kick, you should be able to get the training from it and the benefit from it without having to use it in your form every single time. So as soon as you're in this position here, you have to try to get that left hand to snap inwards towards your waist, as well as bringing the hand over the top. But at the same time, try to move the hips so you're going to get a lot more power with the lower body as you do your twist. From this position here, we're going to snatch and the hands are going to come straight up. As the hand snatches in, you need to drive up through the elbows, so that's going to lift the center of gravity. Make sure that you keep the weight on that left leg, because as you turn backwards, this is the one that you're going to drive off of. So as soon as the hands go up, you have to bring the body up and then do that full turn all the way around back onto the circumference. So one training method that we have for plum blossoms, especially with the turning, is that if you start only by doing 90 degrees, you can start to build up the efficiency of the movement without including the complete turn. So you start off facing in one direction when the hands come up, and then you can learn the proper landing. So we're only turning 90 degrees here, but I can land solidly on that back leg and place this one round. Now, every time you do it, you're simply going to take it around just a little bit further and a little bit further every single time. If you have bad knees, then when you bring your hands up, spin on your left toe and step. Because that way you can still stamp that foot in, but you don't have such a high impact as you land because you're not physically taking your body off of the floor. So after we've finished our double chop and our land, slap step forwards as we do a double finger jab. Now, as we do the next set of movements, we're going to be doing a vertical circle over towards the left, and then a horizontal circle. All we really want to do is develop the body and the movement well enough. So as we step, it's nice and fluid. So as the hands go in this vertical circle over towards the left, we bring the foot forwards, place the toe down, and then as we do the horizontal, we spin on the ball of the foot before we go into the next part of the section. So this is going to help you just with a little bit more flow. And again, because we're not stopping in those postures, they don't have to be so solid. We have to think about the movement and the flow of the form. So as soon as we land here, we're going to go 1, 2. Now the left hand is going to come up and clear from behind the right as you reload and strike with the back of the palm. As I mentioned, you need the flow, you need the feeling of the form to be a lot better. So as soon as we finish the turn here, we need to start thinking about where we're going to move to. So as the weight comes forwards, again, turn the toe in slightly. We're going to spin on the ball of the foot for when we chop down with the right hand. And that's going to make it very easy for you to go into the next part. So as soon as we've done this cut down and we've spun around to the back, the movement has to flow straight into the same thing. 1, step forward as you strike. Obviously this time you don't have to set your toe in because we're not turning. Now you just simply bring the weight forwards to load that right leg, and then you're going to drop forwards again as you do the palm strike. So as soon as you've cut down here, you should be able to leave the wrist in the same position so the body chambers behind it. Now with the weight on the right leg, if we drop forwards, the weight of our body instantly adds to that palm strike. Just make sure that you keep your balance. So from here, we go forwards. Now it's a very short movement. Now we roll the wrist around and we grab to the outside. So as we step around, we're going to strike with the elbow or the back of the forearm all the way down here. And then that rolls straight into our scoop and our step through. So that whole last section should flow nice and fluidly from the first movement all the way to the finish of the section. Now when we move into section 5, we're going from our walking posture. If you have your weight correct, as soon as you turn, you're going to drag back, the hand drops beneath the elbow, but because the weight's predominantly still on my left leg, as I adjust my foot, I'm naturally going to take up a little bit more space when I re-attack toward the left-hand side. For the next part of section 5, again, we need to look at these movements and just think of them as one smooth movement from start to finish. So as soon as you've done the claw, the rest is going to be done at a timing that you choose. Okay, so as long as you do the movements and you can add the power, the steps and the strikes are going to be slightly adjusted from person to person depending on how you feel you get the most power. So as soon as we go to the left, we need to go to the right, step, cross the arms, and then split. Now, once we hit this position, we're going to go into 4 chops. And these are the 4 chops that we saw in the lion form. So again, teaching us about scapular planes and things like that, and how to develop the power when we rise above the shoulder. Using the same movements in a different form, they shouldn't feel the same. These ones are going to be a little bit more fluid, so almost like waves moving through the arms, rather than just heavy strikes that we would use through the lion form. As soon as you press down here, it's going to be right, left, right, left. We're going to move it into the hawk posture Qigong. Okay, so all of the information for the Qigong was pretty much covered in the basic form. So as soon as you finish the end of section 5, when you do the chops, you should have a nice fluid movement pushing the body straight up into your Qigong. So you should be able to balance here for the 3 breaths. Once you get to the Qigong, it's really difficult to stay static. So this is what's going to take a lot of training. So as soon as the hand drops through, and it should come from the downward chop and sweep across the body, we need to time it with the push. So as soon as the hand moves, the foot pushes out. As soon as the foot pushes out, the body is just going to draw straight into that right leg, and we're just going to stand here for 3 breaths. So when we do this Qigong, and we're kind of developing it from basic form, there's a couple of things that you need to bear in mind. Firstly, we don't want to have this standing leg dead straight, because as soon as it's dead straight, you're bound to get a little bit of movement, and if this knee is locked out, you will find that it's harder to keep your balance. So as you come up, it should still be knee over the toe as if you're doing standing Qigong. So raise this knee up, point the toe down, and then that allows you a little bit of movement, and you can control your balance because you won't be able to stay dead still. For me, moving into section 6, this first section of movements is always the most difficult. And the reason being, you have to move from a very static state back into your flow of the form. So from this position here, we need to drop the left arm, we need to drop the left leg, and we have to swing the right round all at the same time to give you that perfect spin. Not only do you have to perform quite a difficult turn from there, but you also have to turn with purpose. So as I swing the leg, I'm going to drive the foot down, and it's going to just lock down there onto the circumference, and that should fix the lower part of your body. Your left hand needs to strike down just over your thigh just to block from a low attack, and at the same time you're going to strike over with that right hand. So after you've performed these 3 strikes, coming across, rake up, rake down, the next 2 strikes are relatively simple. So we're simply going to do the left palm strike, step forward, right elbow, and then we go into the next part of the form. Okay, so for the turn, so as soon as we plant our right foot, we strike with the elbow. We've got to keep the weight slightly back towards the left because we need to adjust the toes for the wrap around. So as soon as you shuffle forward with the left, that should happen automatically. The distance doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's just an adjustment, because as soon as you've come up, down here, you bring your weight forward, your foot will naturally want to move, even if it's just a little bit. So we strike the kidney 1 point as we shuffle, then we make that physical step forward with the right leg and strike. Now allow the weight to sit back onto that left foot just ever so slightly, so then you can turn your right toes out of the circle for striking around with that right palm as we wrap the neck here. After the turn, we're going to keep that right leg loaded so it's locked in. The weight is over the right leg majoritively, so about 70%. So as the hand comes all the way round, we simply push down with our left palm, release the catch on the right, and our body will just drop forward into that strike. So we're going to strike with the finger jab, and our body just lengthens ever so slightly. So now we're kind of in more of a front stance. So from here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. The left palm stays forwards. So you simply, from the end of the chop, you just rotate the wrist over, and now you're in a yang palm. The right hand, after the chop comes down, is going to circle around and grab to the back of the neck. So that happens quite easily. Now from here we perform the same thing again, only this time rather than spinning from the position that we're already in, we're just going to shuffle a little bit onto that toe, and that makes the movement just a little bit more fluid when we move off of that right leg. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Now we just adjust ever so slightly and we pull and push. You'll notice that as I grab around the back of the neck, the foot adjusts automatically. So as soon as we finish the pull and the push, we're going to clear off like we did in section 4. We're going to strike with the wing, chop down. We're going to reload at short range and just jab with the fingers, palm facing upwards, and then just turn the palm over and shuffle again and strike with that straight palm. So as soon as you jump around, you want to be completely balanced and ready to go back in the other direction. So as soon as you jump, you're going to drop the hands. They're going to come up and over. And then you're naturally going to fall forwards as you strike with the palms. As soon as you place the foot down, rather than stomping the foot into the ground, we're going to slap the kidney 1 point again. So it's going to be right on the ball of the foot as you shuffle forwards. Okay, so moving into the second part of section 8, we're going to do the jump around again. If you can't do this, you can do it with a step. So as soon as you finish your double palm strike underneath the chin, you're going to throw your hands upwards and over the right hand shoulder, bringing the center of gravity up a bit higher. We're going to switch the feet around, land on the right foot first, and then step forward with the left. The hands drop all the way over to the right hand side. We lift with our left arm, and then we strike with a sideways right palm. You should try to get that just as a nice fluid movement. Obviously, when you're doing it as a fighting application, it's not quite as extravagant. You want to keep the power contained to the spot. So as soon as you throw the hands up, try not to travel so far to the back and try to just pivot on the spot. So from here, we're just simply going to bring that right leg in. In the basic form, we're going to do very deliberate steps. Bring the left one back, clear from underneath the right arm, step forward with the right and strike with the elbow. But in theory, you can do it again with another little jump. So from this position here, we simply go weighted slightly onto the right leg. So as you turn and push to the rear, you're simply going to draw that left hip in, place the foot down on the circumference as you step. We then go into our walk, and now we finish the form walking the circle once ready to go into the other side.